Hello, my lords and ladies, and welcome to another episode of Act 2 Descent. We're painting Vaerix? However you say his name. Pretty quick and easy. Some similarities to the very first video. If you've never watched it, go ahead and watch that. A little bit different on this one because obviously the miniature has changed a little bit, but nothing too crazy. First off, thank you to all my YouTube members, and for all the YouTube members, you guys will get early access to this video for all members. So yeah, pretty cool. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and hit that bell so you get alerted every single time. But without further ado, let's go. Alright, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to work on the base. And we're going to use some skeleton horde on the dirt portion. So be cognizant of the rocks versus the dirt and just slap that on. Next, we're going to be using some Basilicanum Grey on all of our rocks. We use a lot of speed paints and a lot of these, and that's why it's imperative that you paint your miniature or spray paint it or airbrush it white before you paint it, because it makes it have a natural highlight, saving you time and effort. And that's what we're all about on this channel. For the magical crystals of Evan's Ward, I don't know if they're anything like that. I just made that up in my head. We're going to use some Aethermatic Blue. You might need to do one layer, let it dry, and then put another one to make it a little bit more bright with the blue, because that white does stick out pretty good. For the top of our staff and the little bell and the little rings on our flail, I think that rhymed, we're going to be using some Runelord Brass. Alright, now this is the most pivotal part of painting this miniature, which is the skin. This is the thing that everyone's going to look at, so please take your time on it. We're going to do a 50-50 mix of Krieg Khaki and Steel Legion Drab. Now, you can put some medium in that, some acrylic medium, to make sure your drying time is extended. It makes it so it's more wet and it doesn't dry as fast, especially in the dry climate in which I live. Put that all on the top portion, and then we're going to use some Krieg Khaki here in the next scene. Pure Krieg Khaki. You can put a little bit of Steel Legion Drab in it to kind of dull it down, but we're going to put that on all the under areas, as you'll see here. So we are putting this in the under areas, underneath the chin and the neck, the hands, behind the legs. Anything that the sun would hit, we're going to use that first color that we created, and then we're going to use this Krieg Khaki with a little bit of Steel Legion Drab in it for the under areas. And again, if you had used some medium, some acrylic medium, you should be able to wet blend these, so you can take a little bit from each portion and kind of make it look like it's smoothed together, and it kind of brings it. If you do not have an acrylic medium, just put a little bit of extra water in there. Don't overdo it. You don't want it super watery, but just have enough in there so you can kind of blend those together. You kind of need to work fast on this portion if you don't have a medium, because it will dry, obviously. Alright, once you're satisfied with your skin, and again, it's going to look kind of weird, but take a leap of faith. Don't worry, once we put the wash on there after it's completely dried, it'll all kind of come together and it'll look pretty good. So just trust me on this process. Don't go crazy. Aeldari Green for the robe area. And again, we're not going to do a whole lot with this color. We're going to slap it on because that white really sticks through and it gives you that natural highlight. So it's going to look pretty good. Now this is what it should look like, and I'm going to point out the areas that you should not paint because I didn't realize it was the belt. So don't paint that belt in the areas that I pointed out. Alright, for all of the hand wrap areas, we're going to use some Aggaros Dunes. Now, I had originally thinned this a little bit, and it kind of was too thin. So you can thin it a little bit with some contrast medium or a little bit of water if you would like, but I think when you do it unthinned, it looks a lot better. So it's up to you if you want to try thin first and then go for the full effect. But I think the full effect looks better because the white still sticks through. Alright, for our bones that are sticking out from our dragon person, thingamabobber, we're going to be using some Garaghak's Seer, and I'm doing it real light on the bones that are sticking out on the hands, but darken it up on the horns on the head, and then you'll see some horns around the legs and stuff, so don't skimp out on that. We are also going to use the same color for the scales. So there's the tail, and then there are the ones on the arms as well. A little bit darker, but that white sticks through. Don't worry, it'll be just fine. For our staff, we're going to be using some Cygor Brown. You're probably going to need 2 layers on this. So slap one on there, let it dry completely, and then slap another one. It'll give it that full brown look that looks pretty decent. We're going to be using this color again here in a minute, so make sure you keep it out. For the wrap on the staff, we are going to be doing some Snakebite Leather, pretty simple. And then for the undershirt, we're going to be using some gray Seer. I know it's kind of hard. The lighting I have with the colors I'm using mixed with the whiteness of the spray paint really makes it kind of hard to see in some angle. I don't know why. I'm going to have to fix that. But yeah. For all of our metal pieces, we're going to be using some Leadbelcher, so that should be the spear point at the end, the flail point at the end, and then there are some belt buckles as well. For the dragon's nails, fingernails, toenails, or talons, or whatever they are, claws of death, we're going to be using some black Templar. And as promised, we are back to the Cygor Brown, where we're going to paint the belts with this. So I had pointed out earlier with the belts that were painted with the blue, just paint over it. Shouldn't be a problem because the brown's darker than the blue. Duh. There's a spot on the front, and then there is a spot connecting the back as well. So just take your time on that because you kind of already painted everything else. So just take your time. Alright, pre-wash color. We're going to use some white eyeballs and teeth. And we're going to wash over this. And I always do this before a wash. Just because. I don't know. You know, whatever. Alrighty, let's make this thing start turning into a pretty good looking miniature. Let's take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to paint over all of the brown areas. So all that skin, do it over the wraps as well. The brass areas, do it all. Because this is really going to bring the miniature together. And when it dries, when we put the highlights on, and minimal highlights, trust me, minimal highlights, it will look fantastic. So the leap of faith is starting to come alive. And then for all of our metallic areas, the silver metallic areas, your basic Nulin Oil, because we're basic. And again, we're basic. Yeah. All right, let's do our skin. This is probably the biggest focal point, like I had mentioned before. Now, you can see that with that Agrax that we put on there, it has really already shaped this miniature from looking blah to wah. Not so bad. So we're going to take that Krieg Khaki and we're going to do all the areas like under the neck, a lot on the hands, everywhere you put the Krieg Khaki, if I could say it. We're going to put that on those areas. That's going to brighten it up. Again, thin this Krieg Khaki. You don't want it too bright, but you want to get those highlights in there as well. There's real no wrong way to do this. Just highlight those areas, and then if you feel like you need somewhere else, do that area. Now, with our original paint, now I always use a wet palette, and the reason I do this is because I almost painted this thing in one go. I had some extra time, so I want to get it painted, and I'm trying to produce a lot more videos this year like I had promised. I'm trying to keep that promise to all you people who watch this, which is not a whole lot of people, but I enjoy doing it. We're going to pick out all the raised areas on the tail, mix that in there, put some of the Krieg Khaki in there. There's no right or wrong way to do this. If you want to put more Krieg Khaki in there, or if you want to do less Krieg Khaki and more Steel Legion Drab, you can do that too. Again, with that wash in full swing and the way it looks already, it's going to look good. Just don't overdo it. Just put it on there, get some of those highlights on the raised areas, and you should be looking fantastic. All right, once you are satisfied with your skin, we're going to work on the shirt that we had painted with the Nulin Oil. We're just going to do the raised areas in some Ulthuan Grey to brighten it up. Leave those recesses dark with the Nulin Oil in there, and it gives you that natural light contrast effect. Kind of like what we're going for. And to speed up the ending of this video and miniature, we're going to take a dry brush little thing on two colors. We're going to take some Sigmarite. If you don't have this, just use like a gold. Get some on your brush, get a paper towel, and just get 95% of all that paint off. Just enough so if you were to hit it with a dry brush, it sticks on there. We're going to do the staff area and then the end of the flail as well. We are also going to do this with some Necron Compound. If you don't have Necron Compound, use some regular silver of what you use. Do the same thing. And we're just going to hit the end of the flail and the silver spearhead at the end of our staff Don't use this on the belt buckles because you're going to get it everywhere. Take a regular brush, just put some silver on the belt buckles. And your favorite part of painting the miniature, because it means you're done, is the rim of the base. And as always, you guys know I already painted in one color and one color only, because again, I'm basic, super basic. I'm painting in black because I like it. And that is it. That's it. Not too crazy, right? You're probably looking at that miniature at the beginning like, oh, that seems like a lot of stuff. It's not. Break it down, make it easy, make it doable for even the beginner painter, and then you have a great miniature to go on the table, and it looks fantastic. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers, and extra thank you to all my YouTube members. You guys are awesome, and you guys will get early access to this as well for being a YouTube member. We're going to finish out the Descent series and then move on to something else. But until next time, paint on.